Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's the all-new Chevy Equinox, but more specifically, it's the EV version, which is the electric vehicle. It's a dual motor, all-wheel drive, 2LT trim level in a color called Summit White, and this competes right at the level of the Model Y, which is Tesla's best-selling vehicle, and in fact, the Model Y by Tesla was the best-selling vehicle worldwide for 2023, selling over 1 million units. But this, by Chevy, it's new on the block and it has a lot of competition. It has a lot of things that it's competing against, but it might actually be one of the best values, one of the best bargains you can buy while being local. You know, your local Chevy dealer can service it. It's more familiar, having a lot of physical buttons and knobs and things that you expect in a vehicle, rather than having every single aspect of it controlled by a touchscreen. So we're gonna find out, we're gonna see how it drives, if this might be a good vehicle for you. And if you guys like what you see, please consider liking this video, comment your thoughts and opinions below, subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, we're gonna do a quick walk around, go through it for about the next 2 minutes, and then we'll take it on the road. Maybe do 6 or 7 minutes of driving impressions. I've driven a couple hundred vehicles, a lot of crossovers and CUVs, and a few of the gas-powered counterparts of this. So I really wanna share with you guys my impressions on how does this compare to any other crossover. How does it compare to the other EVs I've driven? I always recommend you guys drive vehicles for yourself, come up with your own opinions and impressions of it, but I want to share with you guys what my experience has been with this vehicle after only a little while. First of all, let me say that the size and the dimensions of this, it's actually fairly similar to the gas-powered Equinox, except for the fact that it weighs about 1,200 pounds more. But still, if we pop the trunk with the typical Chevy key, yeah, you got a physical key with this one. You still have around 30 cubic feet of storage down there. It should be able to self-lower as well. Oh, there it goes. Not too fast, not too slow, it does a good job. And the back of the Equinox can fit full-size adults. Oh, I thought it was gonna be unlocked with the handle sticking out. Let's intentionally click that a few times, and now let's see what it does. Okay, so a lot of Chevy black plastic materials on this 2LT, but they're soft touch. They're comfortable, bottle holder, speaker. And then you have the 60-40 split, and these seats actually look really comfortable. And at 5'11", sitting behind my driver position, I actually have a lot more room than I was expecting. Notice that these seats are not exceptionally wide, so Chevy has done a good job conserving the interior volume. And then if you need to, you can reach over the back second row to get to your stuff back there. But overall, it's not too bad, and thankfully you have some vents and a couple plugins down here, but no heated seats on this mid $40,000 example of the 2LT. Which, by the way, huge thanks to the Twin Falls Chevy for letting me borrow this one for the day. I'll link them below if you're interested. They ship all over the country, they sell below MSRP, and they're one of the best dealerships in the nation. But if we jump into the driver's seat, let's see what we get. Door panel, again, honestly, it's not that much different than the gas-powered counterpart. It's beeping at us because it is turned on, but Chevys don't have a power button to start them if they're an EV like this. You basically just have to sit in the seat, and then you put your foot on the brake, put your seatbelt in, and now the vehicle's running. Now the AC is turning back on, the heads-up display did its little flash of a few different colored lights for the adaptive controls, and we're ready to go. But one of the things I like about the Equinox is that it's comfortable, it's well designed. There are some interesting grooves and characteristics. You of course have this huge screen, which is the exact same screen that was in the Chevy Silverado I just hopped out of, but it has a stock for the wipers. It has regen pedals on the back, adaptive cruise on the left, voice and volume on the right, the horn. Actually, that's pretty deep for a little CUV. I was kind of expecting something higher pitched. You do have really good clarity on the cameras. If we can get to those, should be right there. So 360-degree view. You can change it around front and rear. What I do not like about a lot of the modern Chevys though, is check this out. To get into turning on your headlights, you literally have to go through a few different pages of the screen, which is ridiculous. I think they're following a little bit too closely to Tesla on that. Add another latch, add a little dial on the end, do something different. But otherwise, this is actually a really nice vehicle. You have a lot of storage down here, and without the transmission, you have lower storage too. You have some cup holders, you have some plugins, you have a pencil tray right there, side opening with a lifty tray. So you actually have some pretty decent storage on this one because none of this is now transmission tunnel like a traditional all-wheel drive vehicle probably would be. And with that said, let's get into drive. To do that, first of all, park, you push this button in. To go into drive, pull towards you and either go down for drive or up for reverse. But we're gonna go down to drive. This is the dual motor. It makes a little bit less than 300 horse combined. It has a rated range of almost 300 miles. So realistically, maybe you'll get 75% of that If you go 100% to 0% and you're using the AC and you're using some of these aspects that draw energy, and regen braking, if you're going down a mountain, you're going to get some of that back. But around town, around regular driving, you'll probably get better MPG, or more range, I should say, in the city than on the highway when you have more air and road resistance. But just driving it regularly, there's actually, in the sunlight right now, you can see that on camera, there's a lot of reflection and glare from the dashboard being so flat. Interesting, I don't necessarily like that. I wonder if that will change in other lighting, or if that's just a bad design of, you know, how the light's reflected. You have these really interesting tiny little windows right there, and from my driver position where I'm at right now, I can't see anything through there, so that's kind of a useless design. The side mirror, it's actually pretty big, does a good job. Again, the dashboard is so flat, it just feels like a dinner table or a desk that I'm behind. But otherwise, you have tilt telescope for the steering wheel. If we do a 40 roll, it gets right up to speed. Electric torque always feels faster than you're actually going, unless it's the Plaid. The Plaid was freaking insane. Nothing I've driven even comes close to that. But under normal vehicles, I'm going to put the gas pedal down right now, and probably by the time it's all the way down, I'll already have jumped at least 5 miles per hour. And it's going down in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, pretty impressive, pretty quick. Honestly, even though this one weighs 5,000 pounds, and if you guys watch my channel, you know I don't like heavy vehicles because they don't handle very well. They don't change direction very well. This feels very similar to the Silverado EV. It feels like the 1,000-pound battery is holding me straight down, which I don't like. So then it takes a while for it to steer and to change direction because the battery and the physics, you just can't get around. The acceleration is good. The braking is pretty good too, especially when you can do the regen and you're going to be saving your brake pads for a long time. But the physics, the handling of this, I just don't like it a lot. In some aspects, it does okay because it handles curves really well and changing subtly because of the weight of it, the low center of gravity. But dynamic changes, dynamic adjustments at speed, I don't think it handles great going fast. I think it does better around town and lower speeds. The AC blows cold. I think the speakers are pretty decent. This one doesn't have the power moonroof or panoramic roof or anything like that, so the acoustics aren't kind of thrown off from what your ear is used to hearing in this one. And overall, it might sound like I'm knocking it a little bit. Some of that's more just the EV characteristics in general of they're heavy, there's trade-offs, you don't have the range, you don't have the charging speed of fueling up a 16-gallon gas tank in an equivalent Equinox. But honestly, it's not too bad. I just jumped out of a $100,000 Silverado EV. I did not like that truck, so for less than half the price, if you're just gonna drive your family around and you're not doing truck stuff, you know, the crossover EV game, I think that's where it's at. This is a pretty good handling vehicle. For being a crossover, I need to keep the perspective that it's not a sports car. I can't compare this to a Miata or a Corvette or things like that. It's a crossover. I don't really like the numbness of the steering though. It feels strange weighing so much and how it changes. It's really one of those feelings and experiences I think you guys just need to drive for yourself. But I've probably waited long enough. Let's get to the 0 to 60. 0 to 60 in the Equinox EV. Density altitude's over 6,000 feet above sea level, but because this is electric, it really shouldn't matter. Let's see what it can do. Sport mode. It really starts slowing down after maybe about 45 miles per hour, but true 0 to 60 came in at 6.12, which is definitely the fastest Equinox I've ever tested. It's maybe similar to like the SR standard range Model 3 by Tesla. So true time, 0 to 60, low 6s, or without rollout, high 5s, which is exactly what this is rated. Even on the drag strip, these do like a 5.8 rated time without rollout. So we got exactly that, and at only about 50% battery. I can't complain too much about this. Going over some bumps in the road, it actually doesn't handle really any worse than other vehicles. I'm glad that there's not an obnoxiously large wheel or rim on this with even less sidewall like some EVs have and performance cars sometimes have, but it's just a trade-off. You're gonna save a lot of money on fuel, especially if you can charge this up on your own for 10 cents per kilowatt hour or less. You're gonna save money if you're not having to take it to the superchargers, to the high voltage, high output chargers, and pay more at whatever the discretionary prices are at the time. Heck, you might even get a lot of rebates through your Chevy dealership, especially if you check out Twin Falls Chevy online or maybe the government federal rebates. Honestly, those and the various interest rates and incentives, those literally seem to fluctuate throughout the year. So hopefully you guys, if you buy one of these, you get a good deal on this or whatever else you buy. But I highly recommend you give it a drive, even if you don't think you're interested in it. You know, you might as well either confirm that or realize that maybe there's something that you're missing in considering this. If you do want an EV CUV crossover that can fit full-size adults in the back seat, is overall a pretty safe vehicle, you know, has local dealerships in almost every town that can service it, and it's becoming a more mainstream product by a mainstream automaker while being made or assembled in the United States. So there's a lot of reasons to like it. If you're ready for the EV adventure, not everyone is, but drive one, have some fun. And if you got anything out of this video, please consider liking this video. Comment your thoughts and opinions below. I always wish you guys the best. I'm just trying to give you my honest opinions of this. And this video was not very prepped. This was more just an impromptu, real experiences of what I'm feeling in this right now. The more you drive it, the more things settle in, and I didn't want to be over desensitized to this before telling you guys my thoughts and opinions. So maybe down the road, I'll do a legit full review of it, but for now, I just wanted to take it out, drive it selfishly, and share for all of you guys interested what my thoughts on this were after driving probably well over 100 crossovers by now. Anyways, guys, I wish you the best. Take care. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.